Today I want to focus on a genuinely fascinating and slightly controversial technical detail of Ferrari's brand new SF-26, a detail that at first glance might not look pretty, but could end up being one of the most decisive aerodynamic choices of the entire 2026 grid, and I'm talking specifically about the engine cover, a component that Ferrari has shaped in a way that is completely different from almost every other car we've seen so far, and especially different from Mercedes. If you look at the SF-26 from above, particularly in the rear section, something immediately jumps out at you. And that's the complete absence of the classic Coke bottle shape that has defined modern Formula One cars for years. Instead of tapering inward smoothly toward the gearbox like Mercedes, Ferrari has gone in the opposite direction, with an engine cover that is extremely narrow, aggressively tall, and incredibly long, stretching rearward almost all the way to the rear wing. From certain angles, it looks excessive, almost brutal, and that's exactly why it has drawn so much attention inside the paddock. In the UK, engineers and analysts have already started calling it a serrated shark fin, because its vertical profile really does resemble the ridged dorsal fins you see on some sharks. Tall, angular, and anything but elegant. But this immediately raises the obvious question. Why would Ferrari deliberately choose such a radical solution when Mercedes, Red Bull, and others have opted for wider, lower, and smoother engine covers that look far more conventional and visually refined? The answer, as always in Formula One, has nothing to do with looks and everything to do with power unit architecture and aerodynamic efficiency. And if you stick with me, you'll understand why this odd-looking solution could actually be one of Ferrari's smartest moves of the new regulation era. When you compare the SF-26 and the Mercedes 2026 car from above, you're not just looking at two different body shapes. You're looking at two completely different engineering philosophies. Mercedes has gone for a more traditional approach, with an engine cover that is wider, lower, and smoother, with gentle curves designed to minimize drag and simplify airflow management. Ferrari, on the other hand, has taken an extreme route, pushing the engine cover to be as narrow as physically possible, raising it dramatically in height, and extending it far toward the rear wing. This choice starts with a fundamental decision about where to place the internal components of the power unit. Modern Formula One cars are packed with critical systems that generate enormous amounts of heat, including the control electronics, the MGUK, energy recovery systems, and gearbox cooling circuits, and all of these components need to be cooled efficiently without compromising performance. If you place these elements higher up inside the engine cover, the bodywork naturally becomes wider and bulkier, which is exactly what we see on the Mercedes. Ferrari has done the opposite. They have aggressively lowered these components as much as physically possible, likely positioning them deep within the chassis and even inside the side pods, which explains why the SF-26's side pods appear unusually wide and developed. By doing this, Ferrari frees up the upper volume of the engine cover, allowing it to be narrow and tall rather than wide and low. On paper, this sounds like an unnecessary complication, but the aerodynamic payoff is potentially massive. The key advantage lies in how airflow is delivered to the rear wing, which is one of the most critical downforce generating components on the car. The rear wing alone can produce between 500 and 600 kilograms of vertical load, and that downforce is absolutely essential for keeping the car stable and fast through medium and high-speed corners. However, that downforce is only achieved if the airflow reaching the wing is clean, stable, and free from turbulence. If the air is already chaotic, full of vortices and pressure disturbances, the rear wing simply cannot operate at peak efficiency, and its performance drops dramatically. This is exactly where Ferrari's engine cover concept comes into play. The narrow shape minimizes disruption to lateral airflow around the car, while the extreme length allows air to be guided smoothly all the way toward the rear wing without sudden changes in direction. But the height of the cover is the real masterstroke, and we'll come back to that shortly. If you look closely at the SF-26's engine cover, you'll notice that it isn't smooth at all. Instead, it features a series of stepped, serrated edges as it slopes downward toward the rear of the car. These steps are not there for visual flair or design experimentation. They serve a very precise aerodynamic function. Whenever airflow encounters sharp edges or abrupt changes in bodywork geometry, vortices naturally form, and uncontrolled vortices are a nightmare for aerodynamic efficiency. Ferrari's engineers have deliberately shaped these serrations to control where vortices form and how they behave, effectively managing and reducing turbulence before it reaches the rear wing. This is why the term serrated shark fin is so appropriate. Unlike the smooth fins seen on other cars, this one is carefully engineered to actively manipulate airflow rather than simply divide it. But the most intelligent and potentially decisive element of this entire concept is the sheer height of the engine cover. To understand why Ferrari has made it so tall, you need to think about what happens to a Formula One car in fast corners. When a car enters a high-speed sweeper at 280 or even 290 kilometers per hour, it doesn't remain perfectly aligned with the airflow. The car yaws slightly, meaning it becomes angled relative to the direction of the air. In these conditions, the airflow no longer hits the rear wing straight on. Instead, it arrives from the side at an angle, and this is where rear wings traditionally struggle. Under strong lateral airflow, the wing loses efficiency, sheds load, and produces significantly less downforce precisely when the driver needs it most. Ferrari's tall engine cover acts like a vertical shield in these scenarios. It helps block and redirect lateral airflow, ensuring that the air reaching the rear wing remains more stable and better aligned even when the car is yawed in a corner. In simple terms, it protects the rear wing from the worst effects of sideways airflow. This means the wing can continue producing strong, consistent downforce in fast corners, which is absolutely critical for lap time and driver confidence. Ferrari has essentially sacrificed visual cleanliness in exchange for rear wing stability in the most demanding parts of the track. And this decision becomes even more logical when you consider the context of the 2026 regulations. Under the new rules, cars have lost approximately 30% of their total downforce compared to 2025, which translates to roughly 1,000 kilograms of vertical load that teams must somehow recover through smarter aerodynamics. There is no single magic solution to regain that lost performance. Instead, teams are forced to extract gains from dozens of small, highly optimized details. Ferrari's serrated engine cover is clearly part of this broader strategy. Alongside innovative diffuser solutions and aggressive floor development, this engine cover is designed to squeeze every possible kilogram of downforce out of the rear wing. In modern Formula One, even 5 extra kilograms of load can be worth tenths of a second per lap, and Ferrari is chasing every last fraction. Now, let's be honest. From a purely aesthetic point of view, the SF-26 is not a beautiful car. It looks aggressive, awkward, and slightly unbalanced compared to some of its rivals. But Formula One has never been about beauty. It's about lap time. These shapes are dictated by wind tunnel data, CFD simulations, and hard numbers, not by designers trying to win style points. That said, there is one visual choice that genuinely feels like a missed opportunity, and that's the livery. Ferrari has added white to the engine cover and cockpit area, which already divides opinion, but what really hurts is the absence of green. A green stripe alongside the red and white would have completed the Italian tricolor and paid tribute to the legendary Ferrari 312 T2 driven by Niki Lauda in 1976. Ferrari is more than a team. It's Italy's global symbol in Formula One, the ultimate expression of Italian engineering and passion, and leaving out the green feels like a cultural oversight. But personal taste aside, the real question is whether this radical engine cover actually works. According to internal wind tunnel data and CFD simulations, the answer is yes. Ferrari believes this solution delivers measurable gains in rear wing efficiency, particularly in high-speed corners where other cars struggle. Of course, simulations don't win races. Only on-track performance will tell the full story. But there is genuine confidence inside Maranello that this serrated shark fin will deliver the extra downforce needed to close the gap to the front. So let's recap. Ferrari has chosen an engine cover concept that is completely different from the rest of the grid. Narrow, extremely tall, very long, and aggressively serrated. Mercedes has gone wide, low, and smooth. The difference comes down to power unit packaging. Ferrari lowered its internal components to free up the upper bodywork, enabling this unique aerodynamic solution. The benefits are clear. Cleaner airflow to the rear wing, reduced turbulence through serrated steps, and improved rear wing performance in yaw conditions during fast corners. All of this is part of a broader effort to recover the massive downforce losses imposed by the 2026 regulations. Together with innovative diffuser solutions, this engine cover could be one of the key elements that define Ferrari's competitiveness in the new era. It may not be pretty, and yes, the livery could have been better, but if it works on track, none of that will matter. And based on what we're seeing so far, there is every reason to be cautiously optimistic that Ferrari has once again chosen performance over appearance. And in Formula One, that's usually the right call.